Hello learners, so once again another time we want to continue with our discussion of the evolution of management thought, or if you may like, the development of management theory, the evolution, the development, or the history of the development of management theory or thought. Development of management thought, and we had indicated that management as a discipline has been going through various phases or eras, beginning with the pre-classical era. Then we have the classical era. 3, the neo-classical era, and the modern era. So the pre-classical era focuses more on the development of management thought before the Industrial Revolution. And the theories that we'll be covering under the classical era, we categorize them into 2 or 3. That is the scientific school of thought and the administrative school of thought. And under administrative, we'll still be looking at the bureaucratic school of thought. Okay, so these are the theories that were propounded by different contributors to the school of management thought. So we did discuss in detail the scientific school of thought in our second lesson, where we looked at the contributions of various scholars. Then the assignment here, your assignment was to discuss, you need to note that down, discuss the advantages and limitations of the scientific school of thought. That is your assignment under the scientific school of thought. You note down that assignment. Make sure you carry out this assignment. It's very important. Discuss the advantages and limitations of the scientific school of thought. The scientific school of thought. And remember, we say that scientific school of thought looked at coming up with the best way of performing a task. We also looked at the various observations or contributions that were done by various scholars who mainly made their contributions as a result of observing procedures and coming up with techniques or procedures that would help in solving identified problems. So that is the scientific school of thought. Today we would want to discuss the administrative school. The administrative school of thought. The administrative school of thought. Administrative school of thought, or the administrative theory of management. You can also call it the administrative theory of management. And this theory came out of the need to find guidelines on how to manage complex organizations such as factories. Remember, these are observations or theories that came up during the Industrial Revolution in the 1850s. Industrial Revolution that took place in England. As a result of that, by revolution we mean that there were many industries that came up. So there was need to learn how to manage such industries, complex organizations. So as a result of that need on learning how to manage complex organizations, they came up with individuals who now came up with the theory on industrial or theory on administrative, theories on administrative school, the theory, administrative theory of management. And the main scholars here are Max Weber and Henry Fayol. Max Weber and Henry Fayol. These are the main contributors under the administrative school of thought. And remember, the scientific management focused mainly on the productivity of individuals, whereas classical administrative approach concentrates on the total organization. Okay? Remember the scientific approach. This approach mainly focused on performance of individuals, productivity of individuals. But the administrative approach looks at the totality, not just productivity of individuals. This one concentrates on the total organization. So the theories studied the flow of information within an organization and emphasize the importance of understanding how an organization operated. And I've just said that the main contributors were one, Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol was one of the main contributors, and Max Weber. I hope by now you are familiar with Henry Fayol, his contributions towards management thought, because we discussed Henry Fayol in our first topic, that is overview of management. It is Fayol who gave us the 14 principles of management. Remember, we said that Henry Fayol was a French mining engineer, and he developed 14 principles of management based on his management experience. Remember, he was a French mining engineer. He worked as an engineer for more than 40 years. And these principles, the 14 principles, provide modern day managers with general guidelines on how a supervisor should organize her department and manage his or